Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel. And I thought I'd try something new and do a walk and talk, well, at least for a portion of this video. I've got myself a GoPro and I'm learning how to use it. So this is a new experience. So I'm learning to walk and talk and chew gum at the same time. Well, without the bubble gum. So this is the maiden voyage with this camera. And I thought, well, today's a beautiful fall day here in Ohio. You can see I don't know if you could see the leaves are turning here. It's about 72 degrees. Beautiful, beautiful day. And so I thought, well, let's try out this GoPro. And I want to also take this opportunity to thank everybody for their support, for subscribing and liking and commenting on my channel. And I did not expect my channel to grow as quickly as it has. I didn't think I'd have this many subscribers by now. I just took a chance and started a YouTube channel and just posted videos. And so anybody out there that's considering wanting to start a YouTube channel, I'd say go ahead and do it. I drug my feet on it for quite some time, and I've been a consumer of YouTube content for many years, and well, for the last few years. And I've always been impressed by people's videos, and I often wondered, how do they do that? How are they doing all that stuff? So I literally had to watch a YouTube channel on one screen on my home computer, and then on the other computer screen, step by step follow along on what they were doing on how to start a YouTube channel. So I just went ahead and did it. Simple, first name, last initial, and just started a channel and used my iPhone and made that first video on, you know, why I was 50 years old, never married, no kids video. And that really took off, and I really appreciate all the comments on that and the responses, and glad that it resonated with people. And so I've watched YouTube before, obviously, and have learned so much. And so this is my way of giving back to the community and to contribute to whatever I have. I'm not a expert really in too much other than the military. I have aviation background. But that's it. I guess I could probably focus on maybe military stuff, and maybe that would be a channel for veterans or something in the aviation field. But you know, a lot of people have their videos that they specialize in something. But I really wasn't quite sure what to talk about. What would be my niche? What would be my YouTube video? What would be my channel's main purpose? And so I just went ahead and just started a channel anyway, and just made me the niche for now, and just start off with just sharing my story, and maybe it will then branch off into something more specific. I'm going to turn around here. Let's go back the other way. And so here I am. So if anybody out there, especially if you're in my age bracket, I'm going to be 52 in December. I've lived half a century, and that's something not to sneeze at. And so I figured, well, I've got something to share. I have some life experience that people might resonate with. And so I'm literally jumping in with both feet with this. And so go ahead, give it a shot. You've got something to share, start a YouTube channel. And I'm not doing this for monetization. If it does, okay, great. But some people, they're monetized. And I think in this economy, what a great way to have a little extra money, side gig, side hustle, and have your own channel. Maybe you have something that you do specialize in that would resonate. It could be anything. So go ahead and do it. So if I can do it, anybody can. But anyway, this video today, I want to talk about living a more fulfilling, happy life in the lens of death, knowing that we're all going to die. And to live life with that in mind, to have more happiness and more fulfillment. And that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. So I'm going to find a place to sit here and set up, and we're going to talk more about it. Okay, I'm back. So what are you talking about, Jim? Well, have you ever heard of the story called The Death of Ivan Ilyich by Leo Tolstoy, written in 1886? And Ivan was a high court judge in the 19th century Russia. And the story goes that he gets sick with a terminal illness, has to quit work, and is bedridden. And the story goes with what Ivan is thinking as he reviews his life, as he's lying there on his deathbed, dying. And he lived a life like many of you and I. He followed the society pressures. He climbed the social and corporate ladder. He married, had a family. He kept up with the Joneses. And he realizes that much of his life was artificial. He just did what was expected of him in society. He begins questioning his life, and he begins to hate his family because they are treating him as if he's only sick and not that he's dying. And he has a peasant servant boy that's working there in the house, and the boy doesn't fear death and treats Ivan with compassion. And he's on his deathbed, and he's questioning whether he in fact lived a good life. And here's what he asks himself, which I think is scary. What if my whole life has been wrong? Can you imagine getting to the end of your life asking that question? And have you heard of Bronnie Ware? She wrote a book called The 5 Regrets of the Dying. Bronnie Ware. And she was trying to find a meaningful job, and she ended up finding a job working in palliative care and hospice care. And so she wrote this book of all her experiences dealing with the people she cared for and what they were thinking when they were nearing the end of their life. And she came up with 5 main regrets that she found dealing with the people she helped care for. And here are the 5 regrets she came up with. Regret 1, I wish I had the courage to live life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. I wish I hadn't worked so hard. That's regret 2. Regret number 3, I wish I had the courage to express my feelings. Regret 4. I wish I'd stayed in touch with my friends. Regret 5. I wish I had let myself be happier. Isn't that something? All those regrets. Will we have regrets? We don't necessarily have to, and that's why I make this video as not only a reminder to you all out there, but a reminder to me. And we get so used to just living life, going through the day-to-day, not really thinking about our mortality, that one day it is going to end. And sometimes we think we're gonna perhaps live forever. It's just one of those things we don't think about. And for many of us, we do the same thing every day. If you're still working out there, you get up, you go to work. A lot of times it's with a job that you don't like. You come home, you get your mail, you have your dinner, you sit in front of the coffee table or TV, eat, go to bed, you wake up, and you do it all over again. And perhaps you're thinking, is there more to life than that? And sometimes I question my life as well. Steve Jobs, you remember him? He was the former CEO, pioneer of the personal computer, and co-creator of the iPhone. In 2005, he gave a commencement address at Stanford University, and I'll post the link to it in the description. It's about 15 minutes long. It's not long, but even though he's talking to these Stanford college graduates, it has a lot of good stuff that for us, for anybody. And he shares 3 stories of his life. And one story is about when he was adopted, and that story resonated with me, being adopted. But yeah, Steve Jobs was adopted. What a wonderful story he tells of that and how his parents got him. And then, interestingly enough, his 3rd story is about death. It was about death. And so no, don't think that, oh, Jim, are you morbid or something? Are you getting into the Halloween spirit here with death? No. I'm not that way. But it's still a good story that I think we can pull something from. And he starts his story about death. He says that when he was 17 years old, he read a quote that said, "If you live each day as if it were your last, someday you'll most certainly be right." It made an impression on him. And so he asked himself after that every morning, if today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I am about to do today? That's a great question. If today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I am about to do today? And then he continued, and whenever the answer had been no for too many days in a row, he needed to change something. And he continued, remembering that I'll be dead soon is the most important tool I've ever encountered to help me make the big choices in life. Because almost everything, all external expectations, all pride, all fear of embarrassment or failure, these things just fall away in the face of death, leaving only what is truly important. Remembering that you are going to die is the best way I know to avoid the trap of thinking you have something to lose. Now, when he gave that address, he was a pancreatic cancer survivor, and he had had surgery done, and so it for a while it cleared up. He was clear of the cancer, but it relapsed, and that's what he ultimately died from. So he had looked at death and experienced having a short time to live. And so this is what he said in regards to that. This was the closest I've been to facing death. And I hope it's the closest I get for a few more decades. Of course, he didn't get those more decades. Having lived through it, I can now say this to you with a bit more certainty, that when death was a useful but purely intellectual concept, no one wants to die. Even people who want to go to heaven don't want to die to get there, he said. And yet death is the destination we all share. No one ever has escaped it. Now here's something that stuck with me when I heard that address he gave. Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Boom. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living with the results of other people's thinking. Ivan Ilyich, when he was lying there on his deathbed. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. What Bronnie Ware discovered in the 5 Regrets, having the courage to live the life that you are destined for, or true to yourself. And he says it himself. And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become. Everything else is secondary. Now, isn't that interesting? And that's what I wanted to share and talk about. And so the past is already gone. We can't go back. The future is not promised to any of us. And all we have is the right here and now. And I don't know about you, but sometimes I wonder about my own life. And am I truly, really living? Am I thankful? Yes, I am. I'm thankful for days like today. Beautiful day. I could get out and walk and breathe in the fresh air and my health. And so, yes, I'm very thankful. I'm very grateful. I can count my blessings, and I'm living and surviving like a lot of people out there. And so, but I have to ask myself, am I thriving? Is it in, Jim, are you having an enriching life? Are you thriving? And so there I have to answer, not necessarily. No, not at all. And then I heard, I got another book, another quote. Wake Up and Live, Dorothea Brand. Here's a question you could ask yourself. She asks, what would I be doing now if it were really impossible for me to fail at? That's a good question to ask yourself. What would you be doing now if it was really impossible for you to fail at it? Think about that one. Wake Up and Live, Dorothea Brand. I've heard that death is as important part of living. Important part of life as living it. And understanding that and leading your life on those terms can be the most freeing, exhilarating, exciting thing that you can have. Have you ever thought of life like that? Perhaps it's a good reminder, as I remind myself, to think about death, that it's just as important as living, and to realize that our time is limited. Can it be the most freeing, exhilarating, exciting thing that we can have? Perhaps it is. Think about it. Think about that. And perhaps we can then allow ourselves to live a life that we don't have the regret of living a life more true to yourself. Or I wish I had let myself be happier. Let ourselves be happy. Drown out the noise. Do what inspires you. And we can then live a happier and fulfilling life. So I share that with you. I remind it to myself. And what a sad, scary thing to get to your life like Ivan Ilyich. The story continues that he makes peace with his life, and he is able to look at the positive side of his life and enjoy the moment that he had in that story. But what a thing to ask. What if my whole life had been wrong? I don't want to ask myself that. And I think it's important, no matter what your age is, to take a good hard look at that and at least make the most of the time that we have left in this life. So that's what I wanted to share. Thank you for listening. Thanks again for all the support. And I'll see you on the next one.